I just see there's no audio. Now there is. I don't know what happened there. I'm so sorry. Thank you for letting me know. I don't know what happened. I'm so sorry. I hope it's still recorded and will be there in the later recording. And I hope you can hear me now on one headphone. Why is that? Let me check that record. Let me see. Is it now on both? Is it stereo now? I don't know what's happening. Let me check real quick. Maybe it's the cable. Is it okay now? I cannot check that right now myself because I just see it here. If something working in general, I know. It says it's working. It says it's stereo here. I don't know what is happening. I know. I hope it's not the mic. I don't know what it is because I didn't change anything. Like here, from left to right, but it's middle. Is it on both now? I don't know what it is. I'm so sorry. I hope for now it's like this, and I don't know what it is, what it was. I'm so sorry. But thank you so much for letting me know. I don't know what happened. I changed nothing on the software side, but I hope it's now working. So welcome back, or welcome in general. And here we're talking about like starting later in life or figuring ourselves out later in life. And because starting later in life doesn't only mean just starting a job later or finding a new hobby later in life, because it's also figuring ourselves out later in life. And that means walking away or stepping away from the concept or from the thought of I've done this always like this, or I've always been like this, so I will continue to be like that. And I think this often happens not out of ignorance. It's happening out of fear, and it's normal. And it happens to me too a lot of times, and it is because we do that because we've done this our whole life. It's safe, it's okay to do so we continue doing that because it worked. But I think we can learn from sometimes other people and also ourselves. And I don't mean that in a way that we have to look around our friends to see what they are doing and how are they doing in life, because often we have like people, often like acquaintances. I noticed that now that I moved here to Mexico, that I have people that I'm not necessarily friends with, but I know what they're doing. I know what they're up to. And they are in the same job, in the same field, since they're like 18, 17, whatever, forever. So now they are like having a higher position. They have like a prestigious position, a prestigious job, whatever it might look like. And from the outside, it could seem like they are winning and I'm not, because I do not have that. But I think it's so personal what is winning and what do you want to do in your life. And I noticed that especially now after moving here, because I started now also from scratch again in a way. I worked my whole life in hospitality and I do like that. I still do. I still love that. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't have done it for so long. But also it means it's slightly scary because I've done that now for over 20 years and I came to the realization that I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I'm not searching for any jobs in that field here now, because I realized I don't want to go on with that. I realized I love being with people. I do love meeting new people, talking, getting to know people, like all that comes with that. But I also get tired, like so fast from these situations. And that is scary because it means, okay, everything I've done for almost 20 years of my life is nothing I can go on now. Like, I cannot use anything of that. Like, that was kind of wasted. And the more I thought about it, the more I talked about it also in therapy, I learned it's not wasted. Because we learn so much in these situations. Everybody that works a lot with customers, like in hospitality, of course, but also in sales, in like care work, all of that, you have to deal with so many emotions of the other people. Like, you have to keep cool when they are like really high emotional and still stay professional and stay friendly no matter how you feel. You have to think quickly, find solutions, improvise, and all that. And that is transferable to everything in your life. And so what that means is I'm not behind. I'm just figuring out later in life what I want, what is good for me, what makes me happy. And also, I think when you're in that situation, because I cannot be the only one, I am not, I know that. And when you're in that situation where you figure out after a long time doing the same thing that is not for you, and make the decision to make a change, to start something new, pat yourself on the back, because that is scary. It's far easier to just stay where you are, continue to do the same thing. Don't change anything. That's easier because it's safer. Because then you stay in your lane of expertise. And that means maybe you're not really that happy or you don't have the fulfillment, but it's safe. But for all of us that want to figure out what we actually like, what we are good with, how happy we can be, who are we actually? That means stepping out in uncharted territory and starting over from scratch, learning new things. And learning about yourself can be really scary because you can find out things about yourself that changes a lot of decisions or thoughts or ways you thought about the world in the past. And the more you learn about that and more you maybe realize how wrong you were, how wrong you acted. And that can be really scary, or that is really scary. For me, that was also for a long time how to control emotions. And that maybe seem now far-fetched, but that is also, I would cover that also under the umbrella of finding out who you are and being a late bloomer, because it's seeing your wrongs and getting better at it. And I had for the longest time no real idea how to deal with my emotions, because I learned from all my life that I cannot express my emotions. That was never a thing. That was, and I think it's for a lot of people that was the case. So the only way I could express being sad, being kind of bored, being frustrated, always came out in anger. I tried to keep it all controlled, all under a certain level, until it just boiled over and I exploded. And that is so unhealthy. And realizing that now, way later in life, is hard, because it means you have to admit to yourself that how you acted, that the way you acted in the past and the way you thought what is normal gets challenged. And that challenges, in a way, your personality. But your personality is not fixed. You can change that, and it's scary, but it's also really cool, because you can translate that also to hobbies. I think often, take singing, for example. Let's say you like to sing, and I think a lot of us do, in the car, in the shower, these stereotypical places to sing. And I think for the most part, not going to sing like Mariah Carey. I think I'm not being overly critical here when I say that. But that doesn't mean that you cannot enjoy that. Because a hobby is, what it is about is enjoying it. And I think a lot of this thought process that comes with starting something later in life, and also ADHD in my case, is the thought of, if I cannot do it in 5 minutes, I'm trash and I cannot, why do I even start? And you toss it aside. Or you try to optimize your hobby. You try to make it as best as possible but not for you. Not because it's fun, not because you want to learn more about it, just because to be better, to perfect the act of painting, the act of writing poetry, the act of singing. And that's not what a hobby is about. Like that is that is a hobby for somebody outside of that hobby is always useless. Like nobody cares about all these tiny details when it's not their hobby. And that's okay. And it's also okay to be competitive. That doesn't mean you cannot be competitive, but it has to be fun to you. Like you cannot go out and say like, yeah, playing basketball is my hobby and I love that and I can let off steam and it's so relaxing to me, and then play a game and get so angry and your blood pressure rises to astronomical highs because you lost a point or you lost the game. Yeah, be competitive, try to win, try to get better, but let it be fun. Like you don't, that's, nobody has fun in that moment, especially not you. And I think we can learn all from how kids play, because kids don't play to earn money with that. Or like they just play for the love of the game, like literally. And we can do that. It doesn't mean because we're 40 or older or whatever that we cannot enjoy new things anymore, that we cannot try out new things anymore. And I think it's hard to break that, because look, think about it. How many hobbies do you actually have? Like, what do you actually enjoy as a hobby? Like, I'm trying to answer that to myself right now. In a way, that's coffee for me now, but it will always linked to work. Like, I'm super interested in coffee, but I also worked in that for ages. So apart from me, always has the, how can I do it better? How can I don't know, like the professional brain kicks in. And I don't have a real hobby. I think this here right now is the closest that a hobby can be, because I do that to challenge myself, to try something new, to think if I can, to show myself that I can do it, and while having fun. It's in a way fun that is challenging, that is kind of scary, because it is. And that's also okay, I think. I remember when I was, 10, I think, and like, not whatever, child. And like inline skating was like a thing, like I guess like mid-90s. And there was like a small mini ramp in my city. And going down that took me the whole day, because it's scary, because you're up there, you look down, you crashed already once trying that, and all your knees and elbows were open for like 2 weeks, and you have that in your head, and you think like, okay, why should I do that again? And then you're standing there looking down, and people are around you cheering you on, and then you do it. And that feeling is amazing, because you done it. You get the rush of adrenaline, you get the rush of accomplishing something. And obviously there were people that were way better than me, but that was like the battle that you have with yourself in your own head. And we can do that also now. We can challenge ourselves. And if it's something like me live streaming right now, like I don't know if you've seen that, but for the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, my mic wasn't working and I didn't notice. Like I have like the meter here. And when I started and tested, it went up and down, everything worked. And then I assumed it will continue working, and it didn't. Until somebody gladly, thankfully pointed it out to me, and then just one channel worked. And as I've seen in my past video, that same problem was there. I recorded just in one channel, and I didn't notice because I watched that video back with the speaker from the Mac Mini, and that is just one speaker. So I didn't notice that. I didn't knew that. And so trying out new things comes with failing. It comes with falling down the mini ramp and scratching your arms and knees. And it comes with embarrassing situations. It comes with making a fool out of yourself. But that's okay. That's how we learn. And that's how we learn so much about ourselves, how we deal with these situations. Because it's always easier to just bail, to just give up, to say, I will stop doing it, I will just give up. That's always easier. Or not even starting. But when you do and you fail, seeing that not as a failure, but seeing that as like really something like, oh yeah, I did that, but that's okay because I'm not doing this for 20 plus years. I just started and I'm doing this because it's fun. That is like such a huge learning process for ourselves. I can speak there now, probably also for a lot of you, but definitely for me, that learning that I can fail and I do not have to be perfect and I do not have to deliver everything to the T and perfectly is such a relief and such a you learn how to love yourself again through trying out new things. How cool is that? So I think we should try out new stuff. We should all be together here and encourage each other to learn something new, to start something new, to fail. Let's fail. Let's fail with something and learn from it. And definitely learn that life doesn't end because you're made like a small mistake. And I think that's also the case for professional work. When I look back to one of my jobs where I just started, and I think I was the one in the team that knew the least. So I was happy to learn. I was happy to learn new things, but I was scared to make a mistake because the whole thought or the whole energy of the place was like everything has to be absolutely perfect. Like that was like, if the drink has like the tiniest way of not being perfect, and even though the customer says like, hey, I really love that, I don't mind, we had to throw it away and make it again. Luckily, my coworkers were amazing. We're still friends. And they said like, yeah, that's kind of bullshit. We do that because our boss says so, but he doesn't even know how to do it correctly. Like, he just pretends he knows. So I think the lesson there is that we have to live by certain rules in the professional world, but we cannot let that mess with our head and with our thought of never failing, because oftentimes these rules come from people that do not know what they're doing. And they just saw that somewhere, they heard that from somebody, and they want to be extra. So if you have the luck of having like good and cool co-workers, talk to them about it, probably make jokes about that, and make the best out of it. Take it still as an opportunity to challenge yourself, to learn, but don't beat yourself up about like some weird like rule or weird imposed law that is impossible to meet for like anybody. Like we were all like minimum wage workers. It's not that if you are getting paid a lot of money and you've been hired specifically for a job to create a perfect environment for somebody, and you've done that your whole life, you dedicated your life for that, or years, then you still can't be perfect, but you can still hold way more accountable to that level. But when you're just a minimum wage worker and you getting like some weird rules pushed onto you, don't take it so seriously. Like, do your best so you don't lose your job, but don't let it mess your head like it did mine back then. Because I already was bad with that mindset of I have to be perfect, and then I was in that position and I was basically primed to be exploited because I stayed longer than I should have. I did a lot of work unpaid to fix some weird thing actually nobody cared about. Don't do that. Don't let it mess with your head. Stay positive stay really open for new things. And that also translates to just in general being open to new experiences and new cultures even. Because I often seen that the same people that are so protective of the way they live and the way they want to live, or the way they think, and they're scared of their own of learning about themselves, they're often also very close to learn about new cultures. And there's so much to learn, let alone the food. Do it for food. Do it for the food alone. Imagine all the cool things you can learn about a culture just with their food. Go look. Wherever you live, you have probably different access to different foods. But for me now, being here in Mexico is so crazy amazing. Because in Germany, there's not really German or Mexican food. And learning so much about it, because stereotypically, it's like tacos, but actually eating one is way different. And once you open that door, there's basically unlimited amount of food. And it doesn't matter what are your choices, like, are you eating meat or not? There are so many different ways and different things you can eat. And I think once you overcome that, you learning the culture through that, especially in cultures and countries where there's a lot of street food, because you get to know the actual people. Like so often I've eaten in the evening like tamales, and you chat a little bit with the people that sell them, and then you sit on a table or standing, and next to you standing other people, and you start chatting and learning about them. Or honestly, every time I take an Uber here and I notice they actually want to talk, then I ask them what their favorite food is, and learning about what that is, and ask them where to get that or how that tastes like, and then trying that myself, and therefore learning new things. And it's amazing to learn new things. It's amazing to get to know new cultures. I need to drink something. I think we can learn a lot from each other if we have an open mind. And an open mind comes with trying out new things. I don't know. I tried here, for example, also chapulines. It's like, what's that? Like tiny grasshoppers, basically. And that is, if you're not used to that, like I am, weird. Definitely weird. No other way of saying it. But it's delicious. It's crunchy. You eat it with a little bit lime, with a little bit chili, and it's cool. It's delicious. So let's be more open. I think that is kind of like the theme of all of this. The theme of all the late bloomer coffee corner, to be honest. And how can we do that? We can do that with being open to ourselves and less afraid, and trying out new things. I think I would love to hear from you what you would love to talk about in these live streams, or if you have like some ideas or some questions for me. I would love to get in touch with you, or hear from you what's something you're struggling with, or something that actually went really well, something where you feel, oh, that's actually really cool, that happened to me, I opened up to that, I had an open mind, or I got less, or I was scared to try something, and then I did it, and it turns out I'm still stressed, I'm still scared about it, but it's amazing, and I will keep trying. There's a cool YouTube channel. I honestly haven't watched it in a long time, but like, I think Michael Boyd, I will put it in the description. He started by always trying new things and recording it, and basically writing, like documenting how he tries new things. Like one was like solving a Rubik's Cube, like just flat out solving a Rubik's Cube, and like how long will it take him, and he like documented how long does it take him, what is he doing, and later he made follow-up videos, and then saying like, okay, doing a Rubik's Cube in under, 5 minutes, or learning how to basically make a wheelie for like 20 meters. And he also made at some point a video where he documented and made a video about how he goes on about that. Like, how does he tackle that? How does he learn things so quickly? And how does it change his way of thinking? He basically made what I'm just talked about, like this trying out new things and documenting it and being okay with failing, into a game. And that is so fascinating, because he also said that changed his way of thinking, his mind, in a way that he sees now also the world differently. Because it's true. When you're not thinking in like all the same ways, you see things differently. I remember, because I was riding skateboard like from, I don't know, 12 to 18 kind of. And when you do that, you also see the world differently. You see suddenly places that otherwise are just some random corner, some random part behind a supermarket is suddenly like a super cool spot, because you see like, okay, you can jump like this gap and spend there the whole day. And in a similar manner, being open-minded, seeing failure or failing not as failure, changes also how you approach people. Because then you're not thinking, oh, what if they immediately think I'm not good enough, or I did not express that, or that handshake was maybe slightly sweaty, or kind of I got nervous and I got the name wrong. Like, that's okay. And I am still like that. I think a lot of people are. And I am always super aware of of what people think, because I'm still unlearning that. But the reality is, most people don't care. And I think the more you think about it, the more you think about what you might just done wrong in the introduction, the more nervous you are, and the more comes that across. It's like a dog. They smell fear. And that is, the more you think about failing or making a mistake as failure, the more you act like that. And I've seen that with myself, because the more I, in a way, don't care when I speak Spanish and I make mistakes or I mess words up, and the more I care about that, the less I speak, and the more nervous I get, and the less I can actually say in that moment, because it doesn't come out of my mouth really. But the more I relax and think like, well, I cannot speak it perfectly. I probably never will, because I'm not born here. This is not my first language. Neither is English. But the more you just talk and don't really think about it, you will make a ton of mistakes. Like, I talk like a toddler when I speak Spanish. But I communicate with people. I talk to them, and they are really happy that I speak Spanish, because I obviously don't look like I'm from here. And they just happily talk to me, and we have a conversation, and I'm just in a corner store buying a drink, you know? And the same happened in the past with English. I was terrible in school English. I was terrible in school, like, full stop. That's another story. But I never spoke. I couldn't barely understand. And I started watching shows and videos and everything, like with subtitles at first, to learn to understand better, but I was still not speaking until I had like friends of other friends that could not speak German. So the only way to communicate was English. And at first, I barely spoke to them. I barely spoke at all. But the more I did it, the more we hung out together, the more we actually spent time together, the more I didn't care. Because I also realized English is also not their first language. And they're making a lot of mistakes. And so I just was like, yeah, whatever. I will make a lot of mistakes talking. That's okay. And I'm so sure I make a lot of mistakes in my English right now because I cannot do another take. Like, and I probably also make mistakes in my videos where I could make another mistake, another take. I just don't notice because it's not my language, not my first language. But that's okay. It's fine. Like, I think if you own that, if you're aware of that and don't walk around and say like, if I would walk around now and say like, I basically never make mistakes and I'm perfect, and then you constantly make mistakes, that's corny, that's weird, don't do that. But if you just make mistakes, that's fine. You own it, you get better, you learn, and that's all that matters. That you learn from it, and then you learn for yourself as a person, as a character, as a personality, that you learn from your past, as scary as that is sometimes. I think I will leave it at that. Thank you for spending some time with me. And sorry for the weird inconvenience or weird sound problems in the beginning. I always stream now on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Central Time or Central Standard, CST, that one. And would love to welcome you here again and ask me some questions. Let's chat. And for now, have a wonderful day and see you next time. Take care.